BVB Amrut Kumar sir. And regarding Dr. Amrut Kumar sir, he has the vast experience of more than 22 years. He has been to the Telangana State Animal Husbandry Department for more than 10 years. He has worked in the referral hospital and has handled the most of the canine cases. Also, sir has been serving as an assistant professor at the Department of Veterinary Medicine, College of Veterinary Science, and he has the more than 12 years of experience as an assistant professor. And regarding the area of specialization, Dr. Amrut Kumar sir has been specialized in the endocrine disorders, cancer cases, dermatology cases, and cardiology cases. And various poster presentation awards and the oral presentation awards has been awarded to Dr. Amrut Kumar sir in ISBN conventions. And he has been the resource person for the veterinary medicine subject in the Regional Animal Husbandry Training Center located at Hyderabad. So such is the dynamic personality. The esteemed speaker is with us, and he will be delivering his presentation on the allergic dermatitis and its differential diagnosis in dogs. So I request our esteemed speaker, Dr. B.V. Amrut Kumar sir, to please start your presentation, sir.
Good evening, everybody. I hope I am audible to everybody.
Yes, yes, you are audible, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, sir. Good evening, all the participants. Today, let us speak about the allergic dermatitis problem in case of canines. It's a wide and it's a broader term, which the clinicians, the academicians, and all the persons who are involved with the canine practice are facing a lot of problem in dealing with the allergic dermatitis cases in the dogs. So, keeping in view about the importance, the gravity of the situation of treating the dermatitis cases, I would like to elaborate upon this this subject, and I would like to. So, in this regard, because of the gravity of situation, the risk, the credibility, and the importance of treating the allergic cases, allergic dermatitis cases successfully, brings credibility for the clinician. In this way, allergic dermatitis has been posing a lot of importance, and it has been posing a challenge for the canine practitioners in their practice, day-to-day practice, and all those things. Coming to the subject proper, let me tell you, we will deal with some of the cases of allergic dermatitis, and I will elaborate on 2 or 3 types of problems that we encounter, and which are related to allergic response of the skin to various extraneous allergens. So, in this regard, coming to the term allergic dermatitis, it is something related to the inflammation of the skin, which is caused by various allergic principles. Okay, so with this background, I would like to go to the actual scenario. Among the allergic dermatitis, the most important and the primary and the most challenging cases for dealing in the practice is flea allergy dermatitis. So, coming to the flea allergy dermatitis, as the name is suggesting, it is an allergy. It is an allergic response of the body for the something related to fleas. It is an allergic skin disorder which occurs when a dog is hypersensitive to flea saliva. So, it is an allergic skin disorder which occurs when a dog is hypersensitive to flea saliva. It is a statement. It is a clear-cut statement the body is reacting. Anaphylactic reactions are being shown by the animal or the dog when it is getting exposed to flea saliva. How is it getting exposed to flea saliva? Most commonly, the Stenocephalus felis is the most common dog flea, which is feeding upon and which is depending upon the dogs for its feeding and for its life cycle. And so these fleas, when they are biting the dogs, they are drawing the blood from the animal. At the same time, they are injecting the saliva.
Bruce sir, sorry for interruption.
Yeah.
You make your presentation in full screen.
Full screen, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it okay, sir?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it
Now
okay?
okay. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So then, when the flea is biting the dog, it's injecting the saliva at the time of drawing the blood from the animal for its life cycle. And this saliva is a foreign body. It's a something new for the animal, and the animal's body is reacting regarding for that saliva or the antigens which are present in the saliva. Hence, flea saliva contains many antigens which some dogs and cats are very susceptible to. We are saying some dogs and cats. Not all dogs or cats are susceptible for this flea antigen, flea saliva antigen. Some dogs are hypersensitive, which are developing the anaphylactic reaction. Okay. So then, with this background, let us see how this flea allergic dermatitis is affecting the dog. Flea allergic dermatitis caused by the flea saliva is very energetic for the inflammatory for the animal, and it is causing lot of itching and painful condition for the animal. And it doesn't need that the number of fleas should bite the dog at the same time. At one bite from one flea can trigger the anaphylactic reaction in the dog and lead to all the symptoms and the condition which is specific for this allergy. Okay, then one bite from one flea, and a very minute, that means my statement is to say that a minute quantity or minute volume of the flea saliva or the antigen is enough for elucidating the anaphylactic reaction in the animal. So flea allergic dermatitis is the most commonest type of allergic dermatitis case that we are encountering in the practice of the canines. And this flea allergic dermatitis is most common in summer. Most common in summer. In warmer climates or the topographical areas, it can persist all the year round. That means this flea allergic dermatitis cases are more encountered in the summer season. And in our places where the temperatures are high, it can persist all the year round because the cooler temperatures and low humidity tend to inhibit the flea development. The flea development is inhibited by cooler temperatures and low humidity. Okay, then what are the next? The first symptom noticed is severe itching and inflammation of the skin because of the antigenic reaction of the body, antigenic response of the antigenic antibody response of the body to the flea saliva. Dog will scratch and bite at the affected places, areas, often causing damage to the skin, which develop into circular red painful sores called as hot spots. Very important. Red painful sores, circular red painful sores called hot spots. These hot spots can occur anywhere in the body wherever the flea bites, but mostly they are very commonly seen along the back and at the base of the tail. Back and at the base of the tail. I'm stressing here hot spots, back and at the base of the tail is very important for the differential diagnosis with the other allergic dermatitis cases caused by different allergens. Okay, and the hot spots are very painful, they are itchy and inflammatory, and they are circular and reddish because of the inflammatory condition. Then these are the hot spots. These are the hot spots on the back of the dog, which are inflamed with the reddish discoloration, and particularly the anatomical place at the base of the tail and the back of the body. Most of these hot spots can be clearly seen in case of flea allergy dermatitis cases. So, as the condition progresses, there may be hair loss, broken hair, oozing or crusty sores, pimply bumps, and generalized redness and inflammation of the skin. As the condition is progressing, as the number of fleas are biting and the anaphylactic reactions are increasing, there will be loss of the hair. The hair will be broken, as if we see in the fungal infections, and these hard spots will start oozing with crusty sores on the body. There will be pimply bumps, and these hard spots will coalesce and become a generalized redness area or inflamed area of the skin. The sores will be very painful, and in severe cases, the skin becomes thickened and dark with granulomatous tissue. Granulomatous tissue will form in the later stages because the dog itself will be mutilating its own skin because of the severe itching caused by the inflammatory reaction of the flea bite saliva. Okay, the dog itself will damage its skin because of the itch and pain and inflammation of the place. And because as a consequence, the hair loss will be there. The dog will be biting, scratching, and all those things. And the hair loss will be there. The hair will be damaged and pimply bumps, and the inflammation will be furthermore aggravated, and the skin will be reddish in color. And this is because of the itchy nature of the flea saliva. The self-mutilation is causing more damage to the dog. Okay, see, this is the anatomical place, anatomical position where the flea bites are more commonly seen at the back of the tail, base of the tail, and at the back, which is causing alopecia area on both sides of the tail base, and it is the red hot spots are seen here. And if the condition is aggravated, there is a generalized inflammatory sores, which are the skin layers are thickened and granulomatous and become very, very dark, as seen in the higher hypergranulation tissue, which is seen. Then, so as we all know that the skin is the main and the first barrier. It is the most important barrier between the internal environment of the body and the external environmental hazards. The external environmental hazards include everything, including the chemicals, the radiation, all the things, pollen allergens like pollen grains and all those things. All the environmental hazards are stopped from entering into the body by the skin only, and it is the main major barrier. And if this barrier is damaged by the extraneous hazards, they will enter into the body. And this is the first and foremost defense barrier for the body, for the external hazards to enter into the body. That's why this is vulnerable for all the hazards, and it is the most important organ which is vulnerable for the risks from the environment. The epidermal layer is disposable in the sense that it is having a very rapid rate of production of new cells. New cells are produced in a faster manner, and it is shed off in a very faster manner. It is disposal. It is at risk for the environmental hazards, and it is facing all the risks from the environment. It has a considerable but finite capacity of immediate repair. There is a limit for the repair of the skin also. This epidermal layer repair has its own limitations of repair. When the hazards from the environment, when the extraneous material is causing damage to the epidermal layer of the skin, the repairing mechanism is very, very high. For the epidermal layer, it is very, very high, but it also has its own capacity of repair. That's why it is becoming a target for the extraneous hazards, especially one among the hazards or one among the risks is the ectotoxins. So, with this one, let us come to the next. Fleas and ticks can get passed into thin epidermal. The flea with their oral piercing apparatus, it is piercing the epidermal layer, and they can easily pierce it with the blood sucking apparatus, to access the rich network of blood vessels in the dermis. The target of these external ectoparasites is to draw the blood from the dermal cutaneous circulation, and they are piercing the epidermal layer. They are piercing through the epidermal layer and entering into the dermis, and they are extracting the blood for their own food. So hence, the systemic exposure to allergens is prevalent as the fleas are taking the blood meal. It is a statement. It is a statement. Okay. If hypersensitivity develops, the tissue damage associated with the inflammation may become too great, even for the skin to repair, and opportunistic infections with the common bacteria like the Staphylococcus aureus and Malassezia pachydermatitis can gain a foothold. Here, as the hypersensitivity develops, the tissue damage increases, the self-mutilation by the dog increases, the inflammatory condition will increase, and the inflammatory condition will develop into a generalized inflamed area with the hot spots coagulation, and the tissue is damaged, and the upper epidermal layer is damaged, and there is a ulceration of the skin layer is mutilated. The skin layer is mutilated, and the opportunistic infections may supervene, or they may take an upper hold. That is, the secondary bacterial infections will take a foothold upon with the damaged skin. That's why it will develop into next layer of the pyoderma and something like that, because of the bacteria is increasing there, and secondary bacterial infections are supervene. Then the chronic itching and scratching of the area will lead to alopecia spots. As we have seen, the hair loss will be there, damaged hair will be there, lichenified and hyperpigmented areas, as seen in case of acrylic dermatitis, can be clearly seen on the back or at the base of the tail. When the conditions like acrylic dermatitis is seen on the paws or the lateral aspects of the legs. Here, the hyperpigmented granulomatous tissue can be seen at the base of the tail and at the back of the body. Hair is affected because it is a part of epidermis. Because of the biting and scratching, the hair follicles will be damaged, and the alopecic areas can be seen. Flea allergy dermatitis begins with flea saliva. As we have already talked about it, the flea allergy dermatitis will begin with flea saliva, which contains number of antigenic material, amino acids, aromatic compounds, polypeptides, and phosphorus. These substances have molecular weights from 18,000 to 45,000 Daltons, with the major allergen of flea saliva having a molecular weight of 30,000 to 32,000 Daltons. Dogs presented with a history of severe itching, chewing, licking, biting, and other signs of pruritus at the base of the tail, particularly at the back region, can be suspected for flea allergy dermatitis clearly. Okay, the owners don't really pay much attention, because the owner will be seeing the dog, but the dog will be scratching, and he cannot appreciate any ectoparasites on the body of the animal. Hence, he will not pay much of attention when the dog is scratching initially. When the scratching becomes more, and if it is becoming too heavy, the animal is scratching, biting continuously, then only he will take care, and he will notice the problem, and the problem is brought to the clinician. 61% of the flea allergy dogs develop clinical signs between the age group. Let us see the age specificity here. Age specificity is the 61%, means more than 50% of the flea allergy affected or suffering dogs develop the clinical signs just between the age of 1 to 3 years of age. Okay, it's clear-cut indication. With age and continued exposure to fleas, the degree of hypersensitivity may wane. Here I am clearly stressing upon this one. The degree of hypersensitivity sensitivity may wane with the age. As the age increases, and as the animal is continuously exposed to fleas, the body's defense mechanism the dog body's response to this extraneous antigen will be increasing, and the body will become resistant. The degree of hypersensitivity, the degree of sensitiveness for the antigen will decrease. That means the body is acclimatizing for the flea saliva. Okay, flea allergy dermatitis is not common in dogs. Is not common in dogs which are less than 6 months of age. Here another statement: it is not seen in dogs which are less than 6 months of age because their immune system are not yet fully competent. When the immune system is fully competent, the body will react. Because the dogs or the puppies which are less than 6 months of age, their immune system is not yet competent. They are accepting the antigen. They are accepting the antigen and they are not reacting that severely or that sensitively for the extraneous antigen which is being injected by the flea saliva. Okay, many dogs who are allergic to the bite of flea have very few fleas in their body, on their body at any time because their excessive grooming activity removes the fleas. Here's another statement: because the dog is continuously grooming the hair because of the inflammation and itching, very few fleas are seen on the body. Most of the times, here the clinicians will fail. Here the clinicians or the dog or the pet owner will fail that the fleas are not seen on the body. Only the hot spots are seen, the inflammatory reaction is seen, the self-mutilated injuries are seen on the dog, or not the fleas. That's why normally what the people will feel that there is some skin infection which is a bacteriological infection or some other cause or some other etiological factor is causing this sort of problem, and then the diagnosis will go in some other wrong direction. This is very important. So when the fleas are see, it's quite common that the pet owner, he will examine why the dog is scratching, why the dog is biting, because he will feel that there is some problem there, and he will feel that it is because of some skin infection, not because of the external ectoparasite bite. He will take to the doctor and he will give some other history. The doctor will be misguided with the history given by the owner, and sometimes the diagnosis may go in a wrong direction. That's why this is very important. The dogs will usually have papules, crushed salivary stains by the self-mutilating activity, excoriation, erythema in a wedge-shaped pattern over the lumbosacral region. We have seen the picture there previously. It is in a wedge-shaped pattern over the lumbosacral region, caudal thighs, proximal tear on the base of the tail, ventral abdomen, and around the umbilicus. These are the anatomical sites where the inflammatory reactions are seen because of flea bites only. We are not seeing the flea bites mostly in the anterior portion of the body. It is seen in the posterior portion of the body only. Flea allergy dermatitis can be diagnosed based on the age of onset of the symptoms. See how to diagnose. Age of onset of symptoms, it is very clear. Less than 6 months are not showing the flea allergy dermatitis clinical signs. The dogs between 1 to 3 years are showing the clinical signs. And distribution of the pruritic and inflammatory lesions. Distribution of the pruritic and inflammatory lesions are the main and conspicuous specific clinico-diagnostic signs. See, here we have an observation of flea and flea feces. Here we have mentioned here about flea feces. Flea feces is a very good diagnostic tool for diagnosing the flea allergy dermatitis, because when the flea is biting the dog, the fecal matter is entangled in the hair follicles, and when the hair follicles are entangled with the flea feces, when the dog is brought to the clinician and when the animal is kept on a clear flooring and when it is dusted, the flea feces will fall on the ground or on the paper or any tissue paper or something like that which is kept underneath the dog, and we can appreciate the flea feces, which is also very, very diagnosed. Then, So many dogs affected with flea dermatitis will have a recurrent tapeworm. That's because the fleas are carrying a tapeworm, and this tapeworm infestation is there while biting or while grooming the hair. Some of the fleas may be ingested into the body, which will be digested by the digestive system, and Dipyridium caninum can be seen. That is another fact of the flea allergy dermatitis. The diagnosis of flea allergy dermatitis can be confirmed with the gold standard test. The diagnosis, it can be confirmed with the clinical signs, hot spots, pimply bumps, anatomical area, skin thickness, and coming to the next is flea feces, and then intradermal skin test with flea antigen. Therapy for the allergic reaction is based on the severity and history of the symptoms. Typical treatments are topical treatments are there, medicated shampoos are there, and the steroids are there, antihistamines, antibiotics, fatty acid supplements. All these include the therapy for the allergic reaction of the fleas. So the effectiveness of allergy shots or hyposensitization. Hyposensitization is a method of treating the flea allergy dermatitis by giving a minute quantity of the antigen which is in the flea saliva continuously over a period of time, and making the dog hyposensitive for the flea and salivary antigen. It is a methodology of treatment which is being used for the treating the flea allergy dermatitis with a good percentage of results, around 70 to 80%. Okay. So while symptomatic relief can be provided, the only real treatment for the dog with this condition is to keep him flea free if possible. Flea free. See, the flea is not there on the body of the dog. Flea doesn't breed on the dog. They deposit their eggs in the bedding and nearby objects. The larval fleas are not on the dog. They are in his environment. They are in his environment, because that's why the fleas are not available on the body. And here the understanding of flea life cycle is very, very important. The flea bites the dog to take the blood at the time of breeding. At the time of breeding, there are around 2000 eggs can be laid by a female flea in its lifetime. The female flea will lay at a rate of 50 eggs per day in its lifetime, totaling to 2000 eggs per his lifetime. The eggs will hatch into larvae, and larvae will pupate, and pupa will become into adults. The larvae are long, and they are embedded in the bedding material, doormats, and the dog's environment only. Dog's environment only. Okay, the flea larvae are on the body of the in the environment, and also they are nearer to the dog environment. Why ingredients are necessary to kill all the life stages, which means treating the dog's environment. The dog's environment has to be treated. The insect growth regulators, IGRs, along with the pesticides or insecticides. IGRs, insect growth regulators, along with the insecticides or pesticide-based medications, can be usefully and effectively can be used for treatment of the flea allergy dermatitis to reduce the flea population in the environment of the dog. In the environment of the dog. Okay, these insect growth regulators will work upon the pupa or the chitin inhibitor. They will chitin synthesis. They contain chitin synthesis inhibitors like glufineuron. The glufineuron is an ingredient which will inhibit the chitin synthesis or chitin synthesis inhibitor. These are IGRs can be used effectively along with the insecticides, and they can be used for decreasing the flea population in the dog's environment. They contain some of the insect growth. And now see your application. So juvenile juvenile hormone analogs. The insect growth inhibitors may contain the chitin synthesis inhibitors, or some of them are chitin synthesis inhibitors are there, and some contain juvenile hormone analogs. Juvenile hormone analogs are ovicidal and larvicidal, which can be sprayed in the environment of the dog for killing the ova and also the environment. Methopyridine is one of the ingredients which can be used, and pyriproxyfen is another ingredient which is ovicidal and larvicidal, which can be used in case of insect growth inhibitors for decreasing the flea population. Okay, then coming to the next thing, yard sprays, changing of bedding will also help keep the flea population in check. Along with the insect growth inhibitors, all these also can be used. All these are pesticide-based permethrin-based drugs along with the IGRs can also be used. The owners need to be educated about the flea life cycle and flea control methodology, so that he will change the beddings, he will regularly wash the beddings, and he will use the house foggers and yard sprays. Next, coming to the flea allergy treatment for the flea allergy dermatitis. It is obvious to get rid of the fleas of your dog. Just one single flea can cause the terrible symptoms. We have seen that. And the flea must not only be removed from the dog, but also from the environment itself. For that, we have talked about the IGRs and pesticide-based things. And spot-ons. Spot-ons are, we are using the spot-on treatment for these fleas and ticks and all those things. They can also be used, but the using of collars and only insecticide-based shampoos on the body of the dog cannot further treat flea allergy dermatitis. Okay, that's about flea allergy dermatitis. Comprehensive treatment, exact diagnosis can help in removing the flea allergy dermatitis. That is, the reduction of flea population in the environment of the dog is the main target for reducing the flea allergy dermatitis. Okay, that's about flea allergy. Next one is the atopic dermatitis. Most talked allergic dermatitis is atopic dermatitis because of its complexity of etiological factors. Atopic dermatitis is posing a real challenge for the clinician in the treatment of this one. Okay, because of the varied etiological factors. Okay, let us go to this one. Atopic dermatitis in dogs is an inflammatory condition where the dog's skin shows symptoms of allergic reaction. Okay, symptoms of allergic reaction. See, atopic dermatitis in dogs is an inflammatory condition wherein the dog's skin shows symptoms of an allergic reaction after the dog ingests or inhales a substance that is they are sensitive to. It is sometimes called as atopic. As the definition itself is clearly stating that atopic dermatitis is an inflammatory condition. Okay, then the dog's skin is showing the symptoms of allergic reaction, and the etiology is because the dog is ingesting or inhaling a substance, some substance, ingesting or inhaling some substance that the dog is sensitive to. Here, ingesting or inhaling, there it is a bite of the flea. It is the bite of the flea. It is clearly not because of ingestion or inhalation of anything, except that it is directly because of the injection of the flea saliva into the body by the flea. It is an ectoparasite parasite induced in allergy, that is flea allergy, and here it is a allergic reaction elucidated by the dog because of the ingestion of or inhalation of a substance from the environment. Okay, inhalation or ingestion of a substance from the environment to which the animal is hypersensitive. See, ingestion or inhalation of everything will not cause allergic reaction, which is atopic. Okay, atopic dermatitis is caused by the ingestion or inhalation of the substances to which the dog is hypersensitive to. Okay, then see, this is a clear-cut indication There we are seeing pimply bumps, hot spots in the flea allergy dermatitis, whereas here the skin is not mutilated except that the redness or the inflammatory generalized inflammation is seen in some of the anatomical areas of the body. There hot spots are seen on the specific areas of the body, but here a generalized inflammatory reaction of the skin for the hypersensitive substances which are being inhaled or ingested by that. So let us see about the atopic dermatitis. Atopic dermatitis has been talked too much in these days because of its complexity and the wide range of allergens causing this atopic dermatitis. Okay, the atopic dermatitis is a disease in which there is an inherited tendency to develop IgE antibodies in response to exposure to the environmental allergens. Okay, environmental allergens that are inhaled or absorbed through the skin, or they may be ingested also, inhaled or absorbed to the skin. See, I'm again repeating, atopic dermatitis is a disease in which there is an inherited tendency to develop IgE antibodies in response to the exposure of the animal, exposure of the dog to the allergens, exposure of the dog to the allergens. This extremely common allergic skin disease is the second commonest allergic dermatitis after flea allergy dermatitis in its occurrence. About 10% of the dogs are being affected with the atopic dermatitis. Atopy begins in dogs of age 1 to 3 years of age. Similarly, the flea allergy dermatitis. Next is susceptible breeds. All these breeds are susceptible. Most of the breeds are susceptible. Every breed of dog is susceptible for atopic dermatitis because they may develop hypersensitivity or anaphylactic reactions for any allergen at any stage of their life. That's why we cannot say this breed is resistant to atopy, that disease is susceptible for atopy. Mostly 99 to 99.9% of the dogs are allergy that atopic prone, except that if they are having any innate resistance for the innate resistance or no hypersensitivity for that particular allergen only, they will not react for that one. Okay, even mixed breed may suffer from atopy. There is no specificity that local mongrels, pure breeds, all these things. Signs first appear at the time the weed pollens are available in the atmosphere at the late summer and fall. There we have seen that a flea allergy is more common in and high temperature areas and low temperature is inhibiting the flea population, and flea allergy dermatitis is not encountered. Here, the signs first appear at late summer and fall seasons when the weed pollens which are causing atopy are more available in the atmosphere. Later, other pollens. See, the pollen production differs in different trees, weeds, grass. They will the inflorescence will be the flowering season will be different for different trees. That's why the pollen is the basic allergen which is causing atopy, and the weed pollens are there in the atmosphere in late summer. The tree pollen are there in the atmosphere from March and April, and grass pollens are there in May, June, and early July. So most of the time, all the months are covered here. That's why the dog will become hypersensitive or allergic, or may suffer with atopic dermatitis when it is hypersensitive pollen. For all this pollen, it will react, and all these months it will show the symptoms. Finally, the dog starts to react to wool. When once the hypersensitivity reaction for one allergen starts, for example, pollen in the month of tree pollen in the month of April will cause atopy, and the grass pollen will cause in the next month, that is May, June, and July, and wheat pollens will cause atopy in the late summer and after July in the summer and fall. In this way, the entire year round, the allergic reactions can be appreciated. The atopic dermatitis cases can be available in all the year round. Okay, when once the dog is becoming hypersensitive to one of the allergens like pollen grains, it may start a anaphylactic reaction and it may become hypersensitive to other allergens like wool, house dust, molds, feather, plant fibers, and so forth. All the things will become allergic for the dogs slowly as the body is reacting. And for every allergen, the body will be reacting, and the wide range of allergens will be increasing. The range of allergens causing hypersensitivity for that particular dog will increase day by day and year by year, which makes the treatment complex. With prolonged exposure and multiple allergens, the condition becomes a year-round affair. That's why I have said the cases will be seen all the year round, whereas the flea allergy cases are mostly seen in case of summer only. Some dogs have indoor allergens also. Some dogs will react for the indoor allergies also, like dust mites, green mites, and molds, etc. And they will be reacting throughout the year. These are some of the microscopic pictures of the allergens. First one is the grass pollen, and the middle photograph is the vegetable pollen, vegetable plant pollen. For all these things, the dogs may become allergic when they are exposed to the environment. And the third one, the lowermost right side one, is the flower pollen, to which the animals may become allergic to. Next, in early canine atopy, itching is seasonal and skin looks normal. The skin normally, it will be looking normal except some inflammatory reaction, and first and foremost sign that we can see in canine atopy is itching and normal skin. Itching and normal skin. Itching in the normal skin, the animal will be sitting and scratching the normal skin, and because of the scratching, it will form the inflammatory scratches, or lacerated wounds can also be, bruises can also be seen. Bruises can also be seen because of the nail injuries and the teeth injuries of the skin. That is the early sign of atopy. The dog scratches at the ears and undersides of the body. See, there is a wide anatomical inflammatory reaction of the body in case of atopic dermatitis. The itching is often accompanied by face rubbing. The dogs will have itching at the face, itching at the inner sides of the ear. They will start sneezing. A running nose known as allergic rhinitis can be seen, and watery eyes. The watery eyes with circumscribed allergy, allopathic areas can be seen around the eyes, which are called as spectacle eyes, and licking at the paws. It is a clear-cut specific sign of atopic dermatitis is spectacle eyes and licking at the paws. Face rubbing and running nose may be seen for few minutes or for some time after exposure to the pollen, but it will not be a continuous sign. The running nose or sneezing will not be a continuous sign, but face rubbing will be extended for much more time, and watery eyes will be seen for many hours together. But licking of paws is continuous. Licking of paws is continuous when the dog is hypersensitive to some of the pollen, or the dog is suffering with atopic dermatitis. The paws which leave brown stains on the feet is a clear-cut differentiating clinical signs for atopy. It is a clear-cut specific clinical sign for atopy. So in many dogs, the disease does not progress beyond this stage because the body will react, and the hypersensitive reaction will be subsided by the body's own reaction, and the dog will become normal in few hours or few days. But the licking of the paws will be continuous for a few days, and whenever the dog is exposed, for example, if the dog is taken outdoors every day into the environment, they will get exposed to the pollen every day, and they will show the anaphylactic reactions of the atopic clinical signs every day for some time, running nose, watery eyes, rubbing of the face, and all those things will be there for some hours. And this licking of paws will continue for till the next day afternoon or next day evening, around evening. And when it is taken again into the environment next day evening, it will again start the same clinical signs, which will clearly they will be coalescing, the clinical signs will be coalescing, and we will be seeing the clinical signs continuously. The owner will say that the dog is licking its paws continuously since 2 months. And now and then it is having, it is rubbing its face. All these clinical signs will be explained by the owner. And when we see the upon the clinical examination, we can see alopecia spots on all these areas for which the clinical signs are seen. When the atopy progresses, and each cycle will develop with the deep scratches in the skin, hair loss, scabs, thrusts, and bacterial skin infection can supervene. These dogs are miserable. They will be scratching all the time. They will be growling, and they will be shouting, and they will have the pain also. In time, the skin becomes thick and darkly pigmented because of continuous licking of the paws. Paws are the first place where the lick granuloma can be seen. Lick granuloma can be seen with the hyperpigmentation or dark pigmentation. Okay, these are the other clinical signs that we can see in case of atopic dermatitis. That is the redness of the skin, rashes, inflammation, hair loss. All these things can be seen continuous when the dog is exposed to the allergen continuously. Okay, this is the typical photograph of the dog suffering with atopic dermatitis, which is showing clear-cut redness and inflammation of the ear canal and around the mouth and the muscle, and underneath of the neck, and underneath of the chest, and both the medial aspects of the chest. And here we can clearly see. Here we can clearly see that the dog is having the thick marks on the paws. In this dog, it has not been, the color is not that clearly evident, but black brownish discoloration of the pigments with the wetness of the paws is a clear-cut indication. See, these are the various anatomical areas where atopic reactions, inflammatory reactions are commonly seen. We can appreciate the clear spectacle-eye condition, inner side of the ear and the lower jaw, where the dog will be scratching or face rubbing. Face rubbing is a very common clinical sign. Okay. See, this is a clear-cut clinical case picture which is having atopic dermatitis and showing the thickening of the commissures of the mouth and the alopecia spot of on the alopecia around the lower jaw and the commissures of the mouth. This is a picture of the same dog which is having a mild inflammatory reaction on the lower side of the abdomen and the umbilical area because of atopic dermatitis. So, the secondary dry or greasy seborrhea with flaky skin often develops in conjunction with the skin infection, and the ear canal infections may accompany these signs, or may be the sole manifestation of atopic. The ear flaps are red and inflamed, and the canals are fitted with a brown wax that eventually cause bacterial and yeast otitis. Okay, canine atopy, when complicated with bacterial infection, may lead to pyoderma. It is difficult to distinguish from the flea allergy dermatitis because it is a complicated and it is an aggravated condition of canine atopy. In the initial stages, we can see the inflammatory areas in canine atopy, and we can see the flea hard spot in case of flea allergy dermatitis, and dermatectic mange. These can be clearly differentiated, and the food allergies and skin disease, other skin diseases, it has to be differentiated. The disease diagnosis can be based on the history of exposure to pollen or allergens, location of the skin lesions, eye, inner side of the ear, jaws, inner side of the umbilicus, inner side of the thighs, typical anatomical places, location, and seasonal pattern. If the dog is only hypersensitive to weed pollen, in that particular season only, the dog will be showing this hypersensitive reactions or allergic reactions of skin of watery eyes, spectacle condition, licking of the paws, and all those things. Depending upon the allergen for which the dog is hypersensitive, they will be showing the seasonal pattern can be appreciated. The skin scrapings, bacterial and fungal cultures, skin biopsy, and hypoallergenic test trial should be considered before embarking upon or on an involved course of treatment for atopy. The treatment of atopy should be initiated only after the negative findings of skin scrapings like bacterial and fungal infections and mite infections. All these things, if they are ruled out, then we can embark upon the atopic dermatitis. Or else we will have to see for other type of dermatitis causes. If the skin scrapings are negative and the bacterial and fungal cultures are negative and skin biopsy is also normal, then we will have to go for the test trial of giving hypoallergenic diet. So test trial of giving hypoallergenic diet, removing all the allergens which may be causing the hypersensitivity and may be causing atopy. So it is important to treat and eliminate fleas, and fleas has to be differentiated or it has to be eliminated before before coming to a conclusion or diagnosing for canine atopy. The treatment is complex, complicated, and long. The treatment is complex, complicated, and long because the dog which is hypersensitive to one allergen or environment allergen may develop a hypersensitive reaction for other allergens also continuously. That's why pinpointing the allergen which is causing the hypersensitivity is very, very troublesome for giving the treatment. And if the dog is having allergic hypersensitivity to number of allergens, the treatment aspect also will be complicated. And for every allergen, there is every anti-allergenic treatment cannot be initiated. Hence, the elimination mechanism of treatment has to be followed for best results in case of treatment of atopy. The treatment here, I have told you, the most effective long-term solution is to change the dog's living circumstances and to avoid the allergen. For example, if the dog is hypersensitive for the grass allergy, grass pollen, avoid sending the dog into the environment or the grass and stop or avoid the dog to be exposed for that allergen. That will give a very good solution for the dog's quality of life. That will give a good and a very appreciable solution for the dog's quality of life. The atopic dog is usually allergic to many different allergens. Many different allergens I am stressing here. That's why often it is not possible to avoid exposure to all of the allergens. That's why the atopic dermatitis treatment is very, very complicated. Rather than going for the injectables, going for the traditional treatment management, or avoiding the dog or restricting the dog's exposure to allergen will give good results in treatment of atopy. But identification of the allergen is tough here, and for embarking upon the particular or pinpointing the particular allergen will take a lot of time for identification. Okay, most dogs with atopy will respond well to treatment. The first and most important step is to reduce the threshold of scratching by treating and eliminating all associated irritative skin problems. All the other skin problems have to be ruled out. Then afterwards, the treatment should be started. And first, management aspect is very, very important. First, the dog has to be wiped when it comes from outdoors, so that the dog which is carrying the allergen or the allergic pollen can be removed from the contact of the dog immediately, and the contact period of the allergen with the dog can be reduced. More the pollen or the more the allergen is in contact with the skin of the dog, the more the possibility of developing and the more aggravated the clinical signs of atopy can be seen. Okay, when the allergy starts itching, the immediately dog will ingest the pollen grain. And when the pollen grain is ingested or inhaled, it will the aggravated clinical signs can be seen. Antihistamines will control the itching, but it is only temporary and it is only palliative, or it is for a very lesser period of time until it is exposed. The next time it will again show the same symptoms. 20 to 40% of the atopic dogs will show lesser itching and scratching after giving antihistamines. Corticosteroids are also most effective. They are anti-itch drugs, and but the base cause or the root cause has to be removed for having a good solution for the problem. Preparations containing hydrocortisone and pramoxine and often prescribed for treating local areas of itching for the local soothing of the skin. These can be used. They are best to use intermittently at low doses and for a limited time. So these are all the things that we can do for the treatment. But managemental aspect, the nutritional supplements can be given. Shampoos, a variety of shampoos are there to rehydrate the skin and decrease the immunotherapy, and hyposensitization for the various allergens is the best suited treatment which can help in treating the dogs, making them hyposensitive for the allergen, that particular allergen. Before embarking for the hyposensitization therapy, first the various allergens have to be given intradermally, so that the allergic response or the hypersensitivity of the dog can be diagnosed, and for which allergen, how much the dog is hypersensitive, that we have to first come to a conclusion by giving various intradermal allergen tests can be, intradermal test has to be done, and it has to be diagnosed for the various allergens, and accordingly the treatment has to be done by eliminating the allergens from the environment and the food of the dog, and also giving hypoallergenic diets. Some dogs will require periodic boosters during time when allergens are heavy. When the environmental allergens are heavy, the treatment has to be done periodically and seasonally. Some dogs with atopy benefit from switching to a higher quality dog food, even if they don't have any food allergy. Higher quality dog food with a particular composition of lesser protein and all those things can be used to be hypoallergenic diet are used in hypoallergy, which can be useful for these sort of dogs. So that is about atopic dermatitis. And because of the complexity and the wide range of etiological factors, the treatment and management of atopic dermatitis is very, very tough. And it has to be keenly and sensitively, it has to be diagnosed, and various allergens should be first, they should be identified, and then afterwards they should be managed upon. Then the third most common allergic dermatitis causing agent is food. Food itself is an allergy. Food itself causes allergy or allergic dermatitis in case of some of the dogs. So coming to the food allergy, that's the third most common one, and this will cause allergic itching and scratching in case of dogs. It occurs in dogs of all ages, and unlike canine atopy, food allergy is not seasonal. Food allergy is not seasonal. Food allergy is not age specific also, and the food allergy will not develop when the dog first gets exposed to that food. For example, if the animal is exposed to free saliva, it will get exposed, it will show free allergy dermatitis. And when the dog is exposed to pollen grains or some allergens, it will show the atopic dermatitis. Whereas food allergy is not seasonal and not age specific, and it is not shown in the first exposure itself. Okay, typically, let us go one by one. Dog can develop allergies to chicken, milk, eggs. These are all the food allergies. That means not all dogs will be hypersensitive for these things. Second thing is, not all dogs can show the equal hypersensitive reaction for all these things. Not all dogs will show the allergic response when they are exposed for one particular duration of time. One dog may show hypersensitive reaction for chicken after 6 months of feeding chicken, whereas some other dog may show hypersensitive reaction for the same chicken after 1 year, and some dogs may not show hypersensitivity for the chicken for their lifetime. That's why food allergy may develop at after any duration of exposure at any age of the dog. Typically, the dog should have been on the same diet for at least 2 years to develop a food allergy diet. If it is developing food allergy, some of the dogs will show allergic for chicken immediately after getting feeding them, and some dogs may take longer period like 2 years also to show the allergic responses. These are 14 types of food allergens which are recognized by the European Union, and these are the most important food allergens that are called allergic dermatitis in case of dogs. See, the principal sign is severe itching, accompanied your internet connection is unstable. Accompanied by the appearance of small red bumps, pustules, and raised patches of skin. The rash involves the ears, feet, back of the legs, and underside of the body. Since food allergy is less common, canine atopy and flea allergy dermatitis, than these two, the dog is often thought to be suffering from one of those diseases and they are being treated. Many dogs, how can they get treated? Because the flea allergy shows a clear hot spots, we cannot confuse ourselves with food allergy, because food allergy will not show any hot spots. And canine atopy, it has particular places of development of the inflammatory reaction and particular seasonal and particular age also. Whereas the food allergy doesn't have any season. And food allergy may develop whenever the animal is exposed to that particular food again and again. Whereas in canine atopy, when the dog is on the same food, but when the dog is exposed to environment allergen, then only it will show the allergic response. Many dogs will start by showing signs just in their ears with a red and moist rash. The treatment, the dog diagnosis is made by placing the dog on hypoallergenic diet and watching for a definite reduction in itching and scratching. A hypoallergenic diet is one that has a very limited number of ingredients. The ingredients are less. And when the ingredients are less and the animal is not showing any hypersensitive reaction, that means the ingredients which are not there in the diet are causing the allergic response, allergic reaction for the dog. That means if the hypoallergenic diet is not having any added color, will not have any added colorings, preservatives, flavorings, and all those things. For example, if the dog is showing lesser allergic reactions when put on hypoallergenic diet, and when this in this condition, if the dog is introduced with an egg, boiled egg, and the allergic reaction is increasing, then we can say that this particular dog is allergic for egg. If we are when the dog's allergic response is in a very low condition and it is not showing any allergic reactions, and we are inducing chicken. If the animal is showing hypersensitive reactions like itching, scratching, and edematous swellings upon the legs and on the face, so in such case, we have to decide that the dog is hypersensitive to that particular food. Okay. So this is how we will be testing the hypoallergenic diet. The test diet usually consists of commercial hypoallergenic prescription diets such as salmon and rice and potato, which are available through Hill's Pet Products, Purina, Waltham. All these people are manufacturing the hypoallergenic diet. Prescription diets are being done, which are hypoallergenic for which are containing only hypoallergenic material, which will reduce the allergic response in the dogs. And once the particular allergic material is identified, we have to remove it from the diet plan of that particular dog. Once a good commercial hypoallergen is found, the dog can be left on the diet indefinitely, because this is catering the maintenance and requirements of the nutritional requirements of the dog continuously. Hence, no need of giving much more proteinaceous food or the food which are causing allergies. Hence, it can be left upon that one. Eliminate all treats and chews in case of hypoallergenic dogs. Switching from one commercial food to another is not at all an adequate treatment for giving the treating the food allergy dermatitis. A reduction in itching may occur within a few days of starting the test diet, but in many cases it may take several weeks. The test diet should be continued for at least 10 weeks. 10 weeks is the minimum time to see whether this hypoallergenic diet is reducing the hypoallergenic hypersensitivity reaction in that particular dog or not. After 10 weeks only, we'll have to introduce one by one to see whether the animal is hypersensitive to that particular ingredient. Once improvement is noted, various foods can be added one by one until the offending allergen is identified by noting that it causes an increase in the amount of itching and scratch. Okay, that is how we will proceed with the finding out the allergen. Instead of simply substituting novel proteins, hypoallergenic diets uses modified and denatured proteins of small molecules. I told you that the lesser allergenic ingredients are being used in hypoallergenic diets, which will show a lot of response and which will be very bland and which will be accepted for most of the allergic dogs for food. Okay, if protein is a culprit, this kind of diet can be effective in controlling the allergy. These are the things that are very, very important in management. Most of the allergic dermatitis can be managed by the clinician by educating the owner. And if they are strictly following these rules of management, rather than giving offending or indiscriminate treatment or indiscriminate injectable medications, rather than giving injectable medications indefinitely or excessively, by simple managemental practices, the allergic dermatitis can be treated for the dogs, and the dog's quality of life can be improved to many folds by clear-cut managemental aspects. Thank you very much. This is all from me about allergic dermatitis. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Regarding the questions, there are a few questions in the question answer section. Just a few we will take because of shortage of the time. One of the question is why it is necessary to use rehydrating shampoos in atopic dermatitis.
Sir, I did not hear you.
Why is it is necessary to use rehydrating shampoos in atopic dermatitis?
See, in case of atopic dermatitis caused by the allergen, which is extraneous, the skin condition, the epidermal skin condition will become very much dehydrated, and the lipid and protein portions will be damaged, and the cell-to-cell wall integrity will be damaged, and the obviously the skin will be very much dry. Very much dry. To rejuvenate the dryness and of the skin, and along with the parenteral treatment, this topical rehydrating agents have to be used to see that the moisture content of the skin layers is preserved.
Yes, sir. Another question is how to eliminate the inhaling allergens.
Yeah. Inhaling allergens, as of now, as of this day, the best way is to avoiding that environment. See, inhaling allergens cannot be stopped that easily, because once the dog is becoming hypersensitive to inhaling allergens like pollen, which are in the atmosphere or in the environment, slowly they will develop hypersensitivity to various inhalant allergens like dust mites, dust, and all these chemicals and all those things. In such a case, elimination of these allergens is the best possible way of stopping this inhalant allergens from causing hypersensitive reaction for the dogs. At present, we cannot use any filter masks and all those things right now to stop these things.
Dr. Amrut sir, you please stop your sharing.
Okay.
So rest of the questions we will